Hello, this is the Bible in Fewer Words. We are Carol and Steve Wells. This is episode 87, Judges, chapter 6. If you enjoy this podcast, consider supporting us at patreon.com/B as in Bob, F as in Frank, W as in White. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Carol.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
I see we only have one chapter to cover.
Yeah,
today.
we do, but we have a new character.
Oh.
And it's the one that almost everyone, has heard about.
Yes.
But might not know about.
I think the way we know about him is that there's a Bible named after him.
There is. And it shows up in hotel rooms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Must be Gideon. Gideon's Bible.
Gideon's Bible. Also shows up in a Beatles song.
Oh, it does. Are we going to find out why the Bible in the hotel rooms is called Gideon's Bible?
No one knows that.
But we might have a better idea.
Well, we're going to have 3, I think, episodes on Gideon. And I think when we're done with that, then you'll really wonder why it's called the Gideon Bible.
It will not be clearer to us.
No, it won't be. We can make some guesses.
We always make guesses.
Yeah.
All right, chapter 6. The Israelites did evil in the sight of the Lord. Surprise, surprise. And the Lord delivered them to Midian for 7 years. I wonder how much money he got for them this time.
Yeah. The Midianites were as numerous as grasshoppers. They had more camels than could be counted. The Israelites were impoverished by the Midianites, so they cried to the Lord. One of the really strange things, that's another one, we had this before with the Canaanites, right? But we have it now with the Midianites, that there's just so many Midianites. There are more than can be counted, right? They're like grasshoppers, there's so many.
Or grains of sand.
That's right. And yet, just a little while ago, just back in episode 68, which is in Numbers chapter 31, they committed complete genocide on the Midianites. Remember Moses told them to kill every man, woman, child, infant, suckling, and ass? Yes. Yeah.
Was that because there was one Midianite woman? Do I have my stories mixed up?
Yeah, it was. But back in a story previous to that, they had intermarried with some of the daughters of Moab, but there was one Midianite woman, and so I think it was because of that. But the thing that's really strange here is that they were all killed, and yet here, maybe 200 years later, they're as numerous as grasshoppers.
They're like bunnies.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, it's one of the amazing things of the Bible.
Okay. So they cried out to the Lord. So that's where they misbehave. God sells them. They're mistreated.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now they've got to find somebody to save them.
Okay. Oh, who might that be?
An angel of the Lord sat under an oak tree, while Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress.
The angel said to Gideon,
"The Lord is with you, mighty man of valor. You will smite the Midianites."
I love that phrase, mighty man of valor.
Yeah.
Verse 17. Gideon said to the angel, "Show me a sign that it's really you who is talking to me."
"Stay here until I come back and bring you a present."
Wait a second. Gideon is challenging this angel from God?
Yeah, he's saying, hey, how do I know who you do? You got some ID? So he's going to test him, which of course is one of the things that you're not supposed to do with God.
No, never test God. Just believe.
Yeah.
The angel said, "Okay, I'll stay here until you come back."
Gideon went home and killed a young goat, made some cakes, put the flesh in a basket, the broth in a pot, and brought it all out to the oak tree and presented it to the angel.
So Gideon might be testing him, but he's bringing him a present.
It's a part of the test.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it?
Yes.
So the angel said to Gideon, "Put the flesh and cake on this rock and pour out the broth."
And Gideon did that.
The angel touched the flesh and the cake with his staff, and fire came out of a rock, burning the flesh and cakes. And then the angel left.
Yeah, so there.
So is the burning just part of the cooking? He didn't like raw meat and he wanted it cooked?
No, that's the. Okay, so show me. Gideon is saying, show me you're an angel, right? Show me you're an angel from God.
Yes.
Who else could burn? Just take a staff and make it all go on fire.
Okay, so then Gideon kind of went, all right, you must be somebody special.
You'd think, but we'll see later that he's still not convinced. But that was his test. I'll go get some stuff, some flesh and broth and whatnot, and I'll bring it out to you. Then you do something impressive. Mm-hmm. He touched it with his staff, and it all kind of spontaneously combusted.
Okay. So verse 22, when Gideon realized he had seen an angel, he said, "Oh no, I've not seen an angel face to face."
No, he said, "Oh no, I've seen an angel face to face."
You're right. Then God said to him, "Don't be afraid, you won't die." I guess that's the rule.
Now this is where God, the real God, right?
Yeah.
And you can't really tell the difference between these angels and God. Mm-mm. It's pretty fuzzy, but in this case, it says, the Lord said to him, don't be afraid.
Okay.
You won't die. Take your father's bullock, the one that's 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal and the grove that is next to it. And build an altar to me on top of the rock. Then take a second bullock and offer me a burnt sacrifice with the wood that you cut down from the grove.
This is getting complicated.
Yeah, I think you had to write all this down.
Yes. So Gideon took 10 men and did as God commanded that night.
The next day, when the men of the city saw what Gideon had done, they said to Joash, Gideon's father, "Bring out your son so we can kill him, because he knocked down the altar of Baal and cut down the grove."
Boy, if I was Gideon, I'd be a little bit scared.
Yeah.
So Joash said to them, "Are you defending Baal? Let whoever defends Baal be killed this morning. If Baal is a god, he can defend himself."
Then all the Midianites and Amalekites gathered together.
And the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet.
Yeah. Gideon sent messengers throughout the land.
All right, Gideon's trumpet.
Yeah.
That's the other. There's a Gideon's Bible, and there's Gideon's trumpet.
That's right.
Oh. So do we need to just kind of review that little story there? God said, take this altar, break it, do this, do that. And he did all that.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And that upset the Midianites and the Amalekites. And so they're all gathering together to go to war against the Israelites because of what Gideon did.
Yes. Okay. So, verse 36. Gideon said to God, "I'd like you to prove to me that you will use me to save Israel."
"So I'll put a fleece of wool on the ground, and if the dew is on the fleece only, and the ground beside it is dry, then I'll know that you will save Israel through me, as you said."
So that seems like a pretty flimsy, fleecy test. So you put some wool on the ground.
Yeah, it depends. When you get a lot of dew, depends upon the meteorological conditions, right? I mean, it's the weather, right?
Yes.
Sometimes you get a lot of dew, sometimes you don't. So it's kind of a tricky. It's not a really very clear test, but that's what he did. Is he put fleece on the ground. He wants God, if he's really God, to do this little test. Mm-hmm. Keep the ground dry, but have the dew go only on the fleece. And that's what happened.
That's what happened. Okay, verse 38, and that's what happened. The next morning, Gideon wringed out the fleece, filling a bowl of water.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Enough to fill a bowl of water.
Well, that is impressive.
Gideon said to God, "Don't be angry with me, but I need more proof."
Another test. Oh my gosh. "I'll put out the fleece again, but this time make the ground wet and keep the fleece dry." And
God did it that night.
I think God's going to lose patience with this guy pretty soon. The next morning, the fleece was dry and the ground was wet.
And that's the end of our story.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is a bizarre story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't really know what to say about that. So now he's got enough proof now, Gideon, we think.
I think so. I think he's convinced.
Okay, that God is God and that angel that he sent, was really God's angel.
Yeah. And I was just checking just to make sure that that is the end of the chapter. Because it kind of leaves you hanging, right?
Yes, it does.
It doesn't say, okay, so I know you're God now.
Mm-hmm.
No,
let's move along. Let's go to war.
It just ends with, and that the fleece was dry and the ground was wet.
Kind of a flip of the other night.
Right, just the opposite,
God can do anything, I guess.
Oh, yeah, he can do the fleece trick, yeah. But I don't know why people don't use that more often. Okay, so God, should I be a priest or not? Tomorrow I'll go out, and I want you to have the fleece or my T-shirt dry.
Yes.
And the ground wet, and then reverse it the next night. And then if so, then you become a priest or a nun or whatever the question is. Should I marry this person? Whatever it is, you can get your answer using Gideon's fleece test.
Yes, or a secret ball that has the answer at the bottom. What are those called?
Oh, magic 8-ball.
Oh, magic 8-ball.
No, that's a completely different thing.
I don't think that Christians like people to test God.
Gideon did, and Gideon is one of the biggest heroes in the Bible.
Oh.
Spoiling a little bit, but...
Yes. All right, well, go Gideon.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for sharing these stories with me, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
And listeners, thanks for sticking with us. Bye-bye.
Bye.